So next I'm going to do is, in our project, we have commented the sign in component as like this way. So I am going to uncomment the sign in component and comment the main component. So now we can see that here is the sign in or login component or login page. So whenever we added whenever the user logged in, you can see that on each login time, a document and a collection and a document will be created as like this way with the username. So I'm going to log in again with another username, or I'm going to change the username as like this way, and I'm going to click on the sign in button. At that time I will log in again and a new document will be created. Actually, these two documents is of the same user. So we can see that here in the sign in component, I'm going to add the email also along with this username. So that means you can see that in the console, here it is auth, the auth that we have imported from the setup.js file. Okay. So in the console, you can see that auth as like this way. Here auth.current user with the email. Okay. So I'm going to pass that email into this database as like this way. That is auth.current user dot email. Okay. So now you can see that I'm going to log in again. At that time, a new document will be created here and there will be email ID. Yes. So I'm going to I'm going to log in again. At that time, you can see that again a document will be created here and with the same email ID. Okay, now you can see that here is the email ID and here is also the same email ID. Actually, it is not needed. Whenever the user is the same, we don't want to add the document again and again. So for that, I'm going to do is I'm going to change this add doc and to use the set doc function from the Firebase. So I have imported the set doc from Firebase, and I'm going to do is to remove this collection and to use the function doc, which is also from Firebase. And here we have given the database as the first argument and users that the name of the collection and the second argument. And in the doc, we have to pass the third argument, that is the ID of the particular document. So here I am going to pass the ID from, you can see that in the console, there is auth. The auth.current user contains an ID, that is UID. So actually this UID will be same for the same Google account or the same user. So I'm going to pass this UID here. That means auth dot current user dot UID. So now you can see that I'm going to remove these collections and I'm going to add one more time. So I'm going to give the username as Matthew and I'm going to click on the sign in button. At that time the user will be logged in. A user's collection will be created with the ID that we have given here. Okay, this is the ID UID that we given here specifically, and you can see that there is email ID and the username that we have given. Okay, so next I'm going to log in with another username. That is, I'm going to change the username and I'm going to click on the sign in button. At that time, you can see that, yeah, new document will not be added. That means an updation of username is taking place. That's what we needed. That is, set doc is used for updation. Okay. Whenever we given an ID, that particular document will be updated. Okay. And also, so what is the peculiarity of setDoc function is such that it will do the updation and also addition of the documents at the same time. That means here we have given the document ID. So whenever the document ID that we given is same, then the updation of the document will be take place if there is any updation, or the if an other user is logging in. So if another user is logging in with the other Google account, what will happen is such that we will pass a new user or new UID here. At that time, what will happen is such that a new document will be created here. So that is the peculiarity of set doc function in the Firebase. Okay. Next, I'm going to do one thing, that is I'm going to add another text field in the sign in after the username or below the username, that is text field for designation. So I'm going to copy this text field again and to paste here, and I am changing it as designation, and here I am giving it as set designation. Okay, so now you can see that I'm going to define a state, that is set designation, which is equal to use state. Okay, so now you can see that designation is added. Next, I am going to pass this designation here as like this way, designation. So now you can see that here is a text field. So I'm going to add a label also. So I'm going to copy this label from here and to paste it here. Okay. Here is it. I'm also giving a font size of about 10 px here and also here. So now you can see that whenever I am adding, so you can see that the document will be updated and the designation and the username will be added there. Username will be changed and the designation will also be added as a new field. Okay. So next I'm going to do is, here you can see that this is a demo of the original LinkedIn homepage. So here you can see that in the sidebar there is showing the name of the user and the designation of the user. So next I'm going to show that in the home page. So for that I'm going to do is to comment the sign in and to uncomment the main component in the app.js as like this way. So now you can see that here is a home page. Next I'm going to show the name and the designation here. So in the main component I'm going to define a function, that is get user, which is an arrow function. I'm going to use the get doc as like this way. Here I am going to define a reference to the document, that is user document as a variable. I'm going to assign the doc function here as like this way. So I have imported the doc function from the Firebase and get doc from the Firebase. Next, I'm going to pass the database as the first argument and the name of the collection as the second argument and the ID, the specific ID as the third argument. So for that, I'm going to use the ID from the auth. So you can see that in the auth, we have imported the auth from the setup.js file, and you can see that in the console, the auth.currentuser.uid. Okay, so we need to pass that UID into this user document or the doc function as a third argument. So here comma auth dot current user dot UID. So we have to pass that UID here. So next I'm going to give this user document directly into this getDoc function as an argument, and I'm just going to give the async await trycatch and I'm going to call this function inside this use effect as like this way. I'm going to assign this getDoc function into this data. So now you can see that when I console this data, so here is it is showing an error of cannot read undefined index of. So for that I'm going to give or convert it as a string as like this way, giving backtick. Okay, so now you can see that I'm going to refresh the page and you can see in the console the document snapshot, but actually here the document is null. So what I'm going to do is to use the set timeout here. I'm giving 1 second and I'm going to put these completely inside the set timeout. And I'm going to use this async here. So at that time you can see that when I refresh the page, here we get the document. The document contains this document.data.value.mapValue, sorry, mapValue.fields dot designation email and the username. So we will get the username, email and the designation as like this way. So next what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in a state. So for that I'm going to define a state that is user data as like this way. And I'm going to pass this data into this user data. So now you can see that here is the data I have passed it to this user data. So I'm going to pass this user data state into this home component as a prop. So here user data. So in the home component, I'm going to take that props as like this way. Okay, so now you can see that I have taken the props from the home component and I'm going to give that props to the sidebar as the user data itself. As like this way, you can see that user data. So now I can take, or we can take this user data in the sidebar also as a prop. Okay, so we have taken the user data here. Next, I am going to give the name and designation here by using the user data. So I'm going to console the name here, that is console.log user data dot this document dot data dot value dot map value dot fields dot username dot string value. Okay, so now you can see that here is the name. So I am going to give the question mark here. Okay, so here is the name. So we will get the name as like this way. So now you can use the name in this place. So for that I am going to use this directly. That is user data dot document dot data dot value dot map value dot fields dot username dot string value. Okay. So now you can see that here is the name. Okay. Then I am going to give the designation. So for that I'm going to paste it here as like this way. That is username. I'm going to change it as designation. Okay. So now you can see that here is designation developer. So now I am going to give a position relative here to 32 percentage. Okay. Then to name also I'm giving as 2 percentage. So here you can see that. Okay. You can see the name and the designation in the sidebar. Okay. So as of now, we have passed the username, designation, and email ID into the collection as like this way. So next I'm going to do is I'm going to pass the profile image of the user into the collection. So for that, here we know that we have already passed the username, email ID, and designation in the sign in component. So next I am going to pass the profile image along with these details. So for that, first of all, I am going to do is to uncomment the sign in component. So now you can see that I am taking the console. Here in the console, you can see the auth.current user. dot photo URL. So here we will get the photo URL from the auth itself. So I'm going to pass that auth.currentuser.photo URL into this sign in component setDoc function as like this way. So I am giving as profile image, and I am giving the user, and I am giving the auth dot current user dot photo URL as like this way. So now you can see that when I given the username designation and click this sign in button, at that time you can see that the photo URL or profile picture will be updated, or a new field will be added, that is profile picture in this collection. So I'm going to give the username designation and I'm going to click on the sign in button. At that time you can see that a new field is added to this users collection. Okay, that is profile image. So now we can use this profile image and to show that in the home page of our LinkedIn clone. So for that I'm going to this app.js component, and I'm going to uncomment the main or home page. Here you can see that this is home page. So I'm going to show that profile image in the middle section, in the sidebar and in the nav bar. So we know that already we have taken the data from the in the main component as like this way in the user data state, and we have passed that into the home component. So when we check the home component, we can see that we have passed that into the sidebar. So in the sidebar, I'm going to take that data. So first of all, I'm going to log that data as like this way, console.log user data. So now you can see that in the console, when I'm taking the console, you can see that. So here is the document dot data dot value dot map value dot fields dot profile image. So I'm going to use that profile image here. So for that I'm going to, here you can see that this is the image tag for that profile image. So first of all I'm going to copy this whole thing from the username section and paste it here, and I am giving as like this way. If there is no profile image, it will show the imported profile image. Okay, so here I am going to change this username into profile image. So now you can see that, yeah, here is a profile image of the user who logged in. The next I am going to give a style for this profile image. So here I am going to give the border radius as like this way, border radius to 40 px. So now you can see that here is the profile image in the sidebar. So next I'm going to show that profile image in the middle section. So here we have passed that into the sidebar in the home component. Next I'm going to pass the same user data as a prop into this middle section as like this way. And I'm going to take that from the middle section as a prop, that is user data as like this way, and I'm going to show that email, show that profile image here also in this profile image part. So I'm going to copy that from the sidebar as like this way completely, and I'm going to copy and paste it in the middle section. So here you can see that I'm going to paste it, and also I'm giving the style, that is border radius (40 px). Okay, so now you can see that here is the profile image in the middle section. Okay, so we have shown that in the middle section and also in the sidebar. Next we are going to show it in the nav bar. So in the home component, we have passed that to sidebar and middle section. Next, in the main component, we know that we have called the navbar and the home component here. So next, I am going to pass this user data into navbar also as like this way, as like that of the home component, and I'm going to take that in the home component as a props. So here I am taking it as user data, and next I'm going to show it in or use it in this image tag. So I'm going to copy that from completely from the sidebar and show it in the navbar or paste it in the navbar. So now you can see that after giving the border radius to 40 px, you can see it in the navbar also. Okay.